Hey everyone, Dan here. Before we get into it, if you enjoy these videos, please hit the like and subscribe button. It helps a lot. And also keep in mind, these are my own thoughts, opinions, and ideas. These are not meant to be, nor should you take them as, investment or trading advice in any way, shape, or form. Do your own due diligence, put in the work for yourself, and make your decisions based on that. Enjoy. Alright folks, here we have after market close on Monday, December 6th. We're going to take a look at Palantir. I do cover Palantir every Monday, so if that would be interesting to you, please hit the notification bell as well so that you will get notified of those. Alright, so let's hop right in. So Palantir during the day today, did a really good job and came in a little bit light on the buying pressure, but it could be putting in a nice sort of flagging pattern on the 1 minute. We'll see how much that flows through to tomorrow. But you see it coming in here with this after a nice pull upward. But we'll see what shape it takes. It's nice to see this bounce off of the VWAP. Nice, clean, logical areas to catch support and provide really solid price movement. On the EMAs, if we zoom in a bit here, it was holding this 50 EMA really nicely on the way up here. And then when it had this bearish crossover, right, that's when it had this big drop. And then just needed to settle itself right around here where it had previously consolidated on the way up. Brief consolidation here, caught itself on the downside at that same level. So previous resistance becoming support. And so to me, that's additionally why I think that it's a nice, good movement. And it's, picking up and moving in nice places on the intraday. Now, temper that with, I'm sure, what a bunch of folks are feeling, which is on the daily chart and how challenging this sell-off has been recently. I mean, this was just a little under a month ago that this was at $27, right? So huge drawdown percentage-wise for sure over the last month or so. And we had been calling out this dangerous area here for a while, and it bounced straight off of there again. It just has a really hard time surfacing through that $27 level as it encounters like the second half of $27. Now coming down here, to me this chart is about as good as it's going to get at the moment. 1930. First resistance level up if it does decide that it can try to, maybe consolidate and make a move upward. If not, 1722 is the next big support zone as I see it. Now, it may not need to come down all the way to that. Sometimes when a stock is doing a larger retracement like this, it doesn't need to come all the way down to previous support level. And that can actually be a very good sign if it sort of clips itself from getting all the way down there and consolidates prior to that, and then breaks that range and makes its next move. But for the time being, what I'm going to be looking for is just where does it get the next range break? Because you see here, this is just, I mean, it's not just Palantir's thing. This is a pretty common thing, but just to point it out, if it's not obvious, Palantir keeps putting itself in these ranges that it stays in for a few days, right? I mean, you can see it's all over the place. And then you look for a break of that range, and then that's the direction that it's going in, right? So it's consolidating, moving sideways here, it breaks the range, and it goes significantly higher up. It's falling, range bound, breaks the range to the upside, goes significantly up, it gets itself into a range here, big significant breakdown, and then ranges here again, breaks to the downside, ranges again, breaks to the downside. So I'm really waiting for it to not make one of these moves like, it's gonna just turn it around all of a sudden and jet back up. I'm waiting for it to begin to base, consolidates, and then see where the next big movement comes from. Just which way does it break the range? In the vast scheme of things, I know I talked about this a couple of weeks ago, but in case you're kind of new, in the vast scheme of things, it is just in this enormous range, right, of like $27 down to $17, which I know percentage-wise is just too huge of a range. But I do think in the long view of things, like maybe when you look at this chart in a few years, you'll be like, oh, that was just an enormous consolidation period, basically for the entire year so far. And then it was, going to break to to its next level. Now that's why, especially if it does need to come down and test that like 1722, I would really not want to see it break that, because if this is a part of a bigger range in the vast scheme of things in the macro view, then that could mean that it's going to need to come down and who knows what, maybe come down into the 15s here, maybe even down into the 14s there, 13s there. Like those are the stops that I would see, because you see all of this price action here. Not a ton to go off of, but something. But that's all the more reason why I'm hoping that, for the bull's sake of things, we can get some consolidation here and then flip this 1930 from resistance to support. That would be the first good movement that we would have seen in a long time. You see nothing here for the last month or so has done any flipping from resistance to support. Like once it's resistance, it's resistance. So that's what I'd be looking for on that side of things. Pulling in like the EMAs, it's getting some distance from that 12 EMA, so that might give it a little bit of movement back up toward it. Situated bearishly, of course, under the 180 MA as well for the time being. Ichimoku cloud, it's pretty tight into this conversion line, and this resistance, while it's getting thicker, is getting nearer, but this resistance in the cloud is still up over 21 at the moment. So just none of these things really playing a big factor to my mind until we get that next base, the next range bound movement like we saw there. Now flipping over just very quickly, take a look at the flow. Nothing new that fits my filter criteria coming in today, but there was the biggest options trades of the day for Palantir. Now these were actually bigger than we've seen recently, especially say these top 4. And the good news there is while this is split 50-50 between bearish and bullish flow, these by far biggest trades were 100% bullish. So we'll see the degree to which, those are meaningful in any way, shape, or form. That said, they were all for February of 2022, so they're a few months into the future, at the $20 mark, and it looks like maybe these were all part of the exact same strategy, all 4 of these. I thought that would come if I clicked it. Guess not. But yeah, just thought I'd share that to the extent that it's interesting. So TLDR, which I don't mean to do at the end, but I'm waiting for a range. I'm waiting for it to build, to go sideways for a few days and then look for the next break. Before we wrap up the video, I'll say a few things. In the description below, there's a few ways that you can support the channel or ways that you can sort of sync up with me in different places. There's a ton of activity right now on my Twitter, if that's interesting to you. My handle is in the description below. And I'm doing some different videos on sort of trading psychology, traders' mindsets, and different ways that like losses impact you, different ways that wins impact you, different ways that like periods of confusion in the market may just sort of like psychologically affect you, and just ways that I think about it, just to sort of like open the dialogue. And not to say that like my thinking about any of these things mirrors yours, or that you should try to copy it, or that it's even the right way to think about these things. It's just trying to open up and share a bit of what I've sort of analyzed for myself about myself during trading time. So you can look for that. It's very obvious. It's like, trading psychology thumbnails, and there's only a couple of them out at the moment. There's a new one coming out tonight at 6:15 p.m. Eastern time on Monday, December 6th. I don't know when you're watching this video. All right, folks. Well, in any case, I hope that your trading week got off to a good start today and that you're able to continue it strong through the entire week. As always, I appreciate you watching, and I will see you in the next video.